So today we're taking a look at the Artitec HO scale M1A1 Abrams main battle tank, and this is Trainload. So you see that turns actually facing backwards towards the engine, and it's an already made model, so it has a lot of details like these chains attaching to the turret gun so that it's fixed in place. When I first got this model, I was actually surprised how much weathering that they put into this. So there's like these orange or brownish streaks going all around. You can see we've got a lot of little details like the smoke grenade launcher, the turret basket there, got the one for, I don't know what that stands for, some kind of unit during Operation Desert Storm, because this is based on the one in the Gulf War. And here's what it looks like in the front. We've got another 41 marking there. Got some headlights as well, and on the sides of the turret we've got this nice towing chain right there, a smoke grenade storage box, a lot of little things. Even look at the treads, you can see the individual spikes between the wheels. Next to the main gun we've got this coaxial M240 machine gun, a spare tire, the hatch for the commander. You may notice there's actually like a weapons mount there, so they probably took out the machine gun when they're doing train operations. And you can see between the wheels it is kind of see-through, so you can see the bottom half, and the back does have some anchor points, although they are filled in, so you would have to drill a hole in them for it to actually be functional. And we also got some red painted taillights as well, and some really tiny text. It's also interesting to see the detail on top, how the vents are asymmetrical. So underneath the tank there is a second screw, and what this controls is the turret. So you can actually pull the whole gun out of that metal frame in the back, and this is how it's actually designed. There's like a little socket right there, and the gun itself, it's on this circular block, and you could just put that back inside if you don't want to have it just in transport mode. So you can use it as a regular tank as well. It doesn't have to be just for trains. So I decided to get two of them actually, just so that we have that nice train load. With two tanks on the same car, here's what they look like side by side. Now they are pretty similar, but I assume there's like some subtle differences from being hand painted. And by the way, Artitec is a Dutch company, so this actually comes from the Netherlands. Now all we need is a DODX flat car. So this is a Spring Mills Depot DODX 40,000 68-foot flat car. Got the reporting number, pole jack there, lots of little details here, and DODX just stands for Department of Defense because these are owned by the military itself. Got a nice emblem there on the side. We've got a lot of little tiny details like the text down below, and you can see on the bottom there's a little bit of air brake detail. And this rail car is also interesting because it's using a 3-axle bogie, which usually freight cars they use 2, but this one needs 3 because it needs to carry the heavy Abrams tank. Anyways, let's go move on to the end where we have this coupler cut lever, some grab irons, as well as a little more detail, and then the coupler itself. So here's what the surface of the car looks like. We've got some channels going across, and that's just where in real life they would secure the vehicles with chains to tie them down so they don't just start rolling off the car as it's in operation. And you can see in the white squares there's actually these tiny raised numbers. There are also these holes where you can put a container holder inside. So now let's go flip this car over so you guys can see what's underneath. Now the cool thing about this car is the axles, they're actually colored brown, as well as the outer face of it, so it's kind of pre-weathered. There is also some bottom air brake detailing. Some lines going across, and we got the air tanks, and here's what it looks like on the other side. And here's a feel for how the 3-axle bogie navigates. So this flat car is capable of holding up to 2 M1 Abrams tank, and this is the part when it clicked into me on just how good the models of these are. Seeing them in HO scale, they're just like the real life thing, just shrunken down. By the way, the white line in the middle is a good divider. Here on the sides, you can see the treads, they slightly come out of the car, and that's just how they are in real life as well. And here's what it looks like if I flip it around the other direction. And here's a nice profile view of it facing different directions so you guys can see, what's it generally going to be looking like. And here's a little baggie full of container holders. And this is what I missed in the first car, so that also had as well. So I got it in another color. This is called Cascade Green, and it's actually a different manufacturer, Thrall. The other one was an Ortner Urethane Green, which is a military green. This is like a really bright one, but it does exist in real life, and there's actually a third color, but I just got two, and here are them side by side. Now, from what I could tell, they look pretty much the same, but if you look closely, there are some differences between the two. There are a lot of variations of this where you can buy it with a different font as well. Anyways, here's what it looks like with a military load. Got some Abrams tank, and the other car I put a Rocco Hemet M977 and a 3D printed Humvee. Alright, so for my final thoughts, I think the Artitec M1A1 Abrams tank, it looks so amazing, so realistic, and I like the weathering and the detail that they put into this, and also the fact that it's ready-made, like you don't have to assemble a kit. Usually with these military kits, you have to assemble it yourself, you have to paint it yourself, decals, but this is all already done for you. Now the drawback to this is that they're pretty much out of stock everywhere. I was actually pretty lucky to find this on eBay one day in the desert color scheme, because sometimes they have it in green, but you know, desert is a lot cooler. And this scheme is also based on the Operation Desert Storm during the Gulf War, so it's a little bit outdated. I wish there was a more contemporary version of the M1 Abrams, but as a model train, it doesn't really look out of place either. As for the spring model depots, DODX flat cars, they look really amazing and they look prototypically accurate, so if you wanted to make an HO scale military train, I really would recommend getting this because they have pretty much everything on point. It does cost quite a bit, but I think it's worth the price. Spring mill depots, they are a really small company. According to the page, it was 7 years in the making, and luckily I bought it around this time when they're coming out with it, and there's some people, they've been waiting years for this. I am glad that they decided to make this car though, because there's not many prototypically accurate military flat cars in HO scale. There are in N scale, like by Microtrains, but if you look in HO, there's an Atlas DODX, but it's not really accurate. They're using another type of car, but just reskinning it, so it has a wooden deck instead of those channels for the chains. There's another small company called Alchem Scale Models. They produce a DODX flat car, and it looks really good, but you have to assemble it yourself because it's a brass kit, put in the decals, put in the paint, and buy the trucks and couplers separately. So it would be both more expensive and more time consuming than if I just bought a Spring Mills Depot one. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you guys actually like military trains or not. Would you like to see more? Because I would be more than happy to do it, because I like military stuff as well. And if you want to see more of these, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to be notified of future videos. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. So I also bought another Abrams tank from eBay. This one was a 3D print, and here's just a comparison between the two. You can see the Artitec one, it just looks a lot more realistic proportionally. Everything's a lot thinner. Although I think this is the best 3D printed HO scale M1 Abrams tank. It's still like really thick with the turret cage and the gun. I haven't yet decorated the 3D print, but yeah, they are on totally different levels.